Hello guys, hi, it's Heather, and thank you so much for stopping by the channel, Me and The Kiwi. I have spent over $5,000 on Fiverr gigs. So today I'm going to talk about what I have learned as a buyer on Fiverr. Now, what is Fiverr? So Fiverr is basically an online platform where buyers and sellers connect to buy and sell digital creations and digital content. You need a WordPress blog set up. You need some video editing. You need some content creation, a logo designed, some thumbnails, some proofreading. Fiverr is a place you go for these kinds of services. It's basically a Craigslist for digital services. That's really how I look at it. And part of that is because Fiverr started in 2010. The gigs are all start at $5. And today in 2021, it has over 830,000 sellers on the platform. So the first thing that you as a buyer need to know is that it is a marathon, not a sprint. It is going to take you a minute to, sift out the chaff and find the perfect seller for your project. So once you have found a few sellers that you think could be a great fit, you want to read their full profile and not that little blurb that Fiverr sends you. Click on full profile and read it all. The reviews, where they're from, their areas of expertise, what other people are saying about them. Read their full profile and kind of get a feeling for their vibe. It's very, very important. To that end, the other thing you do is you go to the top of the page where they have filters. And in those filters, it's things like categories. So if you need something real specialized, that is a filter. Where they're from, what languages they speak, timeliness. Says some sellers just aren't very active on the platform and they don't respond in a timely manner. And if you want something quickly, that's an area that you can put it in. Budget. So use the filters at the top. It definitely helps you, sort down from 830,000. The next thing that I have learned, and it is the most important thing. So if you take nothing from this video, take this. Never, 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 never make a purchase on Fiverr without first contacting the seller. Now, Fiverr has recently added something that makes that a lot easier. They have a chat bar that didn't used to be there. It is there now. And chat, connect with that seller. They get dinged right whenever you send a message. And if they respond quickly, great. And in that chat, make sure that you cover all the details of your project. If it's a timely project, what your vision is, what you are looking for, what your goal is, all those things. Get it all out there in chat before you ever commit to purchasing a gig. The only times I've ever had to cancel a gig or have just not had a great experience were the times that I did not connect and chat with the seller ahead of time. So always, always, always contact them. The other thing I do in that chat is I put a question or a secret word or some little instruction in there. And I learned that in the 80s. I used to work in radio, and the first gig I got was for the band Van Halen, and it was for the Monsters of Rock tour.
Van Halen's Monsters of Rock.
And I was going to execute their rider. And in that rider, which is, what their expectation is, they wanted M&Ms in their green room, but they didn't want any green M&Ms. And it wasn't because they were being difficult. It was because they wanted to know if you could follow directions. So I always stick a question in there. Usually my question is something like, hey, I live on the road full time and, we travel, but I hail from Oregon. Where are you from? Just something simple. I'm going to tell you that my personal experience is that over 50% of Fiverr sellers do not answer the question. I don't think they read that far into the chat. And that's information that's very valuable for me to know. So the next thing is you've decided on a seller. So do a little trial run with them. It's totally fair. Take their $5, their $10 gig, their little gig before you commit to a bigger gig or a long-term gig. Because I'm going to tell you in that chat, 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10, this is the question they'll say. And what's your budget? What's your budget? It's always like, what's your budget? Feels like such a bait and switch. Especially for someone like me, I'm a Virgo, so I will actually screenshot and say, I am referring to your $10 gig. And so then, that's always the thing. What's your budget? What's your budget? So take that trial run with them first to ensure that you're going to have a good working relationship with them before you commit to something bigger. And then once you've done your trial run and you're like, yeah, this is my seller, then feel free to negotiate. Things, not nickel and diming them. That's just not cool. But things like, hey, if I order 4 videos at a time, can there be a discount? Hey, if I provide the royalty-free music for you to use, as opposed to sending them out there to find it, can I get a discount? These sorts of things, negotiate it out. Don't game the system. That is so not cool, where buyers will put up 2 or 3, profiles to try to, out nickel and dime the sellers. Don't do that. It's absolutely not cool. Now, Fiverr rates their sellers. They rate them new sellers. So obviously when you start out, you're a new seller, level 1, level 2, and then top sellers. And it is based on how many gigs they've completed, how long they've been on the platform, and how much money they've earned on the platform. Me personally, I am so fine with using a new seller because we all have to start from somewhere, and that works for me. Again, though, that chat, the pre-chat before you commit, is going to be the lifesaver between a new seller who's just starting out and just getting the project done right for you. So now you've got your sellers, you've done some cool things together, it's working out great. Use the favorites list. You have an opportunity to put a little heart and make little lists of your favorites. And as a matter of fact, because I've been doing this for 10 years on Fiverr now, buying, I am going to put some of my favorite sellers in the link below. The favorites list will save you so much time, especially as the platform continues to grow. And then, of course, it's also about building relationships, because all of the things that you're doing up till now is building that relationship with a particular seller. That's the goal for both you and them. Never, never, never leave a bad review unless it's absolutely necessary. As I've said, I've spent over $5,000 on Fiverr. It's over 200 completed gigs that I have purchased, and I have never left one bad review. In part, that's because I really vet the seller beforehand and we're on the same page when we start, so that if something goes awry, you can really have a conversation with them. You don't have to, damage their business. You can work it out. It's just, it's just better. It's just easier. It's just good karma, I guess. But if, some weird thing and you just can't work it out, or something's just gone terribly awry, use Fiverr support. Fiverr support's really good. It's surprisingly good. They help you with the platform if you get stuck. They help you cancel orders. They get your money back to you. All of those things. So I actually have had great experience with the Fiverr support. So now this is a different video than I normally do, but I thought I would share it because we live on the road full time. We live nomadically. We live tiny. And I am 56 years old. This is how I get a lot of the digital stuff done. This is how I got my WordPress set up. This is how I got SEO done. I've gotten press releases. I've gotten a lot of stuff done on Fiverr. So this is how I do it. And if you have a pro tip or something that maybe I missed, please leave it in the comments below because I would love to share it. And if you're digging the journey, please hit subscribe. So until next week, cheers.